Good day traders, it's Osama. This is a CRT video you guys have been asking for. I promised you guys on my last video I was going to do a video talking about how I spot out valid CRTs and how I get my entries based on those CRTs. Now, what is CRT? CRT simply means candle range theory. It's a type of directional bias that me personally make use of. If you watched the last video I dropped on YouTube, where I showed you guys the first type of directional bias I always look out for. Now, CRT as well is another form of directional bias. CRT, the idea of CRT all comes down to what we call the key level. There are different types of key level in Forex. We have the fair value gap, we have the order block, breaker block, SNR, support, resistance. Those are levels in the market that we expect what a reaction from. Now, for instance, let's assume we have a fair value gap key level like this on our charts. The idea of the CRT is that before any key level like this, you will always have what we call a range candle. The range candlestick looks something like this. Now let us assume this is our range candle, our wick of our range candle like this, and the wick of our range candle like this. Now we have different types of CRT, but this is the first one I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to explain more on the other types of CRT shortly. Now, the next candlestick following this, our range candlestick, we always want that next candlestick to open like this. Firstly, we want that candlestick to close below the body or equal with the body of this range candlestick. Take note of this rule. Now, the wick of that next candlestick that opens, we want that candlestick to tap, that wick to tap into what? The key level. Once price takes out this previous range candlestick high and taps into this key level, we want to see a rejection of that particular candlestick. Once it rejects, we want it to reject back to inside this range candle or close equally with this range candle. Then we can proceed to call here what our CRT high, and we can proceed to call here our CRT low. So this is how the CRT should always look like. Take note of the rules. Firstly, you should have your range candlestick, which has a wick above and a wick below. Secondly, the next candlestick that opens after your range candlestick should be the one to tap into that key level. The key level we talked about, which is the fair value gap. Once price taps into that key level, it should reject back inside and make sure it closes equally with this range candlestick body, or it closes equally. Now, the reasons are, if it closes above this range candlestick body, I don't call it a valid CRT. It is not a valid CRT to me. I always want to see that CRT close equally with this range candlestick body or close inside of that range candlestick body. Then once we get our CRT like this, we can now scale down to our lower time frame to look for our entry. Now, for the time frames I like using to spot out my CRT, I don't have any specific time frames, but I always like checking from the 4 hours time frame, the 6 hours, the 8 hours time frame. But for those of you that don't have the premium trading view, you can always check for your CRTs on the 4 hours time frame, the daily time frame, upwards, down to the up to the monthly time frame. The CRT formation is a very, very good type of directional bias. Once you are able to spot out the CRT formation, it is at least this CRT has at least 85 to 90% win rate. Any CRT you spot out in the market, once you spot it out, always scale down to your lower time frame, look for your entries and take your trade. Once you get a very nice SLP entry model or any strategy you make use of, where should be your target? Your target should be the opposite side of this range candle, which is going to be your CRT low. If the sweep takes out your CRT low, your target should be what? Your CRT high. So that is how the CRT concept works. Now, I told you guys that there are different types of CRT. Sometimes you might have a CRT like this. Let's assume this is our key level, our range candle like this, our range candles wick above, and our range candlestick wick below. Now, We might have a CRT like this. The next candlestick that opens after this your range candlestick might not be the candlestick to sweep that CRT, the range candlestick high. The next candlestick that opens might as well close like this. Might as well close like this. The third candlestick that comes after that might also not be the candlestick to close that high. To sweep that high rather, sorry. It might also close like this. Now, what do you do in this type of situation? You need to ensure that none of these candlestick closes above this body. None of the body of these previous candlestick closes above the range candlestick body. If any of them closes above the range candlestick body, then this is no longer what a valid CRT. The next candlestick might now open like this. That fourth candlestick might be the candlestick to tap into your key level and reject back inside. And once you tap into your key level, you always want it to what? Reject back inside and close equally with your range candlestick body, or close inside your range candlestick body. Remember, one of the rules is that we don't want the body of this candlestick to close above. I always look out for it when it closes equally or closes inside. Now, this is another type of CRT. Once you get a valid CRT like this, what do? You scale down to your lower time frame, look for your entry, and your target should be what? This low. So that is how this CRT formation works. Now I'm going to show you guys few examples on how to take your entry after spotting out your CRT. Now, let's go to the chart. So lately I've not really traded CRT in a while, but let's spot out some CRTs. Firstly, let's go to BTC. Remember, I told you guys that I love spotting my CRT from the higher time frames. Now, this is BTC on the way. Beautiful. Now, take a look at this. Now, there was a key level right here. You can just turn on this FVG2. I have turned on this FVG2. And before this, my fair value gap, there is a range candlestick right here. So this is the range candlestick right here. And as you can see that the next set of candlesticks that open inside, they all closed inside this range candlestick. None of them closed what? Above the range candlestick. They all closed inside. Let me delete this so you guys can see clearly. Hold on. Now, the next set of candlestick that opened after this range candlestick, they all closed inside this range candlestick. None of the body closed above this range candlestick body. They all closed inside. But immediately price wanted to take out either the CRT high or the CRT low. This bullish candlestick opened, tapped into the key level and rejected back inside, and it also closed below this range candlestick body. Immediately I saw that, I now know that what market has given me a strong weekly CRT on BTC. And that also joined with what the direction. Since the direction is bearish, I knew that this CRT was what going to be a valid CRT. So what do? I simply scale down to my lower time frame. I got my entry, and where was my target? My target was simply what? My CRT low. So that is how this CRT works. Once you get your CRT, always what? Scale down to your lower time frame. You will always get your entry. Not always get your entry. Sometimes the market might choose not to give you an entry, but you get the idea. Now let me show you guys some more trades based on CRT. This particular one, I want to show you guys how I'm able to get my entry after spotting out my CRT. So on this chart, I will be showing you guys two different trades, how I got my entry on two different trades. So let's just rewind back here. Beautiful. Now, if you take a look at this chart, you would see that what this is a key level. This is what a key level. This is a support key level. Before that support key level, this is the range candlestick that opened. So this is going to be what our range candlestick low, and this is going to be our range candlestick high. Immediately after the range candlestick, the next candlestick that opened was a bullish candlestick. That bullish candlestick tapped into this key level. Remember, your CRT should always have what? A valid key level. Either your support and resistance, your fair value gap, order block, any key level at all. Now, the next candlestick that opened after this particular range candlestick tapped into my key level and rejected back inside. As you can see, the body of that candlestick closed equally with my range candlestick body. Remember, the body did not close below. It closed inside equally with my range candlestick body. Now, we've gotten ourselves a CRT on the 4 hours time frame. Let's look for what? Our entry. Let's look for what? Our entry. So I'm going to delete all this so we can do the analysis together. I'm going to delete all this so we can do the analysis together. When I scale down to my 15 minutes time frame, what can I see on my 15 minutes time frame? I can already see from this 15 minutes time frame that price has given me what? Price has given me a very clear market structure shift. So I simply mark out my market structure shift. I made use of SLP for my entries. So I mark out my market structure shift. Then I wanted to scale down to the lower time frame to see if price has given me any other thing. Now, if you take a good look at this level, you can see that price has given us what? A pullback or our inducement. A pullback or our inducement has been given to us. Let's still scale down to our lower time frame. Let's still scale down to our lower time frame. Now, if you scale down to the 3 minutes time frame, you can still see the very beautiful market structure shift and the very beautiful inducement. Now, let's scale down to the 1 minute time frame to make it very clear. Me personally, I make use of any time frame. There is no specific time frame to take your entry once you spot out your CRT. Take note of this. There is no specific time frame you get your entry once you spot out your CRT. Now, on the 1 minute time frame, I can clearly see that on the 1 minute time frame, I can clearly see my order block right here. So I simply mark out what? My order block. After marking out my order block, I can spot out this closest liquidity right here. So I simply mark out what? That closest liquidity. So for my entry, I am going to make use of what? This 1 minute order block. My entry is going to be like this. And my SL few pips below the 1 minute order block. And for my target, here is going to be my target. The opposite side of that 4 hour CRT, which is simply what? Our CRT high, like this. Can you guys see? This is a clean 14 RR trade. This is a clean 14 RR trade. If I'm risking $100, I'll be making how much? $1,400. Now let us see how it's played out. As you can see, price tapped into our order block on the 1 minute time frame. Can you guys see how it's played out? Target smashed. Price tapped into our order block on the 1 minute time frame and went straight for our what? Our CRT high. So this is how you get your entry after spotting out your CRT. It is not difficult, guys. It is not difficult. Trust me. Once you get your CRT bias on your higher time frame, what do? You simply scale down to your lower time frame, look for your market structure shift, look for your what, your inducement liquidity, and look for your valid point of interest. You take your trade and where should be your target? The CRT high. Now let me show you guys more examples. Now, beautiful. Now, there is a key level right here. Where is a key level? The key level right here is my order block. Now, the key level is my what? Is my order block. Before this key level, I could already see this long range candlestick. This was a range candlestick before my key level. Now, this is the low of my range candlestick. I will simply mark it out like this. That is the low of my range candlestick. And this is the high of my range candlestick. I'll simply mark it out like this. Remember, this is the 3 days time frame. Since we've gotten our range candlestick, what do we wait for next? We wait for market to sweep the low or the high of that range candlestick and tap into what? Our key level. In this example, price took out the low of our range candlestick, tapped into our order block and rejected back inside and closed equally. Remember, it is very important for price to reject back and close equally with your range candlestick or close inside your range candlestick body. Now, immediately I spotted out this CRT. What did I do? I knew I had a valid CRT and I wanted to swing these buys. For those of you on our Telegram channel, you would see I swinged this buy. I dropped the analysis for this buy and we swing this buy together. Now, if you are not in the Telegram channel, the link to the Telegram channel is on my bio. Now, what did I do and how did I get my beautiful entry on Euro JPY? I simply scale down to the lower time frame. Beautiful. On the lower time frame, if you look internally here, you would see, remember, I spotted out my CRT on the 3 days time frame. So it is right for me to use 4-hour time frame as a lower time frame. Remember, you can still choose to use any particular time frame. There is no particular time frame I make use of while looking for my entry. On my 4 hours time frame, I can see a structure already has occurred here. And after that structure, I can see the inducement liquidity was formed afterwards. Now, all I have to do is to get what? A point of interest. All I have to do is to get what? A point of interest. Now, let's still scale down to the lower time frame to see the particular level I used as my point of interest. After getting your CRT buyers, you always want to look out for your structure, your liquidity, your point of interest. Now, this on the 2 hours time frame, this is the structure I made use of. After that structure, I marked out my inducement liquidity that was formed by this break of structure. And for my point of interest, you can see the valid order block I made use of in this particular area. This is the order block I made use of. Hold on. I marked out the order block like this, which is clearly being protected by what? By this inducement liquidity. So I marked out my order block, and as you can see, price tapped into the order block and started buying immediately. So that is how I get my entry. Immediately I get my buyers, which is my CRT buyers on my higher time frame. I do not have a specific time frame I go for my entry. I just simply scale down to the lower time frame and look for what? A valid market structure shift, a valid inducement and a valid point of interest. So I think let me show you guys one more before we round up. Okay, let's go to Euro USD, guys. Let us go to Euro USD. Beautiful. Let's go to Euro USD on the 4 hours time frame. Let me show you guys how I was able to get these two clean setups after spotting out my CRT on the 4 hours time frame. Now, this is my CRT on the 4 hours time frame. And where is my key level? My key level is simply this particular level. This is a key level. After spotting out my key level, I marked it out and I waited for, and price created what? A range candlestick before that key level. This right here is my range candlestick. And what did I wait for? I waited for price to give me my next candlestick, tap into my key level and reject back inside and close what? Equally with my body of this range candle or close below it. Immediately price closed like this. What did I do? I now know that a CRT formation has been formed. All I have to do is to get my my entry. Now for my entry, I simply looked for my structure, liquidity, and what are my points of interest. I looked for it on multiple time frames. I did not get a particular entry, but when I scaled down to the 1 minute time frame, I got a very clean market structure, inducement, and liquidity here on the 1 minute time frame. Now let me show you guys the particular level we used. Now if you scale down to the 1 minute time frame, you can see the beautiful internal market structure shift, the beautiful inducement liquidity, and the beautiful order block I simply made use of for my entry. And as you can see, immediately price tapped into that 1 minute order block, it started dropping massively. So I do not have a specific time frame. I know why I'm repeating this over and over, because a lot of you guys have asked me, how do you get your time frames? What particular time frames do you make use of? So take note that I do not have a specific time frame I look out for while getting my entry. And I do, for my CRT, I always mark out from my 4 hours time frame above for my CRT. So that was how I was able to get these two beautiful entry, making use of what CRT buyers. Now, the reason why I extended this particular take profit to this level is because when I scaled back, I think to the daily or to the 3 days time frame, I got another CRT formation right there. Beautiful. On the 3 days time frame, what can you see on the 3 days time frame? You can see that what there is a clear CRT that was formed right here. This is a CRT high, and what this is our key level. This is what our key level. Immediately price tapped into that key level, it dropped immediately, and it closed equally with this our range candlestick body. It did not close above. It closed equally with this range candlestick body. I now knew that what another CRT formation has occurred on our 3 days time frame. That was why I got my re-entry. And where was my target for my re-entry? Simply was my CRT low, my 3 days CRT low. And as you can see, that was where I target for my entry. Can you guys see? Can you guys see? This is how it works. Now, if you go to BTC, this is the last example. If you go to BTC on the yearly time frame, you can see that a CRT is currently playing out on BTC. Where is the CRT? This is our range candlestick and this is our CRT high. Now you might be asking, where is the key level for this particular CRT? Remember, all-time high as well is a key level. BTC got to what? Our all-time high. All-time high is what? Is a key level. Anytime any price, any currency or any pair gets to the all-time high, it always tends to what? Reject back. Why? Because this is what? The all-time high. So this is our CRT high, and this is going to be our CRT low. So our key level in this scenario is what? Our all-time high. Immediately price got to our all-time high, it rejected back inside and closed equally with this range candlestick body. And as you can see, ever since then, market has been selling massively. So that is going to bring BTC to what? To 38K, right? Yes, BTC is definitely going to get to 38K. Why? Because there is currently a yearly CRT playing out. So with this video, I hope I've been able to explain very well how CRT works and how I get my entry after spotting out a CRT. Just remember the important truth. 1, you must always have a key level. Secondly, the candlestick that taps into your key level should always reject and close equally with this your range candlestick, or it should not close above it. It should close equally or close inside that range candlestick. Once you get everything like that, scale down to your lower time frame, look for a very nice market structure shift, look for a very nice liquidity, and look for a very nice points of interest. So that is how I get my entries making use of CRT. Take care, guys.